kind of advice do you have to homeowners?
Practicing that preparedness. Starting the conversation now is always going to be a benefit to any association out there.
And welcome to GlobalPro Live. I'm Dan Odess, president of GlobalPro, where we manage risk to recovery, and we continue to provide you information you can use. We manage risk to recovery. We have managed more than $1 billion of that recovery, but we don't just adjust claims. We make sure that our clients have the insurance they need. They go through the entire process, whether it's obtaining the insurance, recovering from the loss, or rebuilding. It is our signature process. It's something that we talk about a lot on this show every single week. We bring on guests to talk about interesting issues that are affecting you as a community association or business, and we want to continue to deliver that information to you. So continue to tune in, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We got an interesting show today. It's just me. I'm going to be providing you some information about the storms. The storm season has kicked up. We obviously know that if you're particularly if you're in a Gulf region or on the Atlantic coast, you're seeing the storms. First, we had Tropical Storm Fred hit the Panhandle area, certainly caused some damage there. It continues to disrupt and create an interesting amount of weather up and down the East Coast as it travels, into the nether regions. We also had Tropical Storm Grace. Tropical Storm Grace, while it certainly threatened the Caribbean and caused some significant damages and insult to injury. Obviously, we have Haiti with the earthquake, and everyone in Florida was on high alert. Is it coming? Is this going to be the one? Because we haven't had a direct hit, obviously, in the South Florida region in quite some time. We had Hurricane Irma, obviously, that came in from the West Coast, but that direct hit that comes on shore that is actually a hurricane, not just a tropical storm that just kind of glances and goes up the coast, but it tracked in our general direction, but then it just continued off into the Gulf area, and they're expecting it to potentially, obviously, huge cone of error, may hit the Mexico or Central America area. We'll see. We'll continue to track that. Obviously, we do have clientele that have investments there, so we're always interested in seeing where it goes and what and how it may impact that area. Also, Tropical Storm Henry, kind of an interesting storm that just popped up somewhere out in the Atlantic. It's supposed to do a little end and around and cause some weather up and down obviously the Atlantic coastline. So make sure you track that. Who knows? Maybe it comes on shore. Tropical Storm Sandy, if you remember that, back in 2012, did this really interesting thing up and down the Atlantic coast, just causing a tremendous amount of disaster. So just because storms don't come on shore doesn't mean that you're not going to have the tropical storm winds and the rains, if not hurricane burst type winds that can cause these types of damages. You're looking for those 3-second bursts. You're looking for that tornado, those things that occur in those storms and that traumatic events that we always want to make sure that we are monitoring. You always want to practice preparedness. We talk about it. We preach about it here on the show at GlobalPro with our clients as we're helping them plan for the what if. It should not be is it going to happen? It's when is it going to happen? If you have that mindset, you'll make sure that you're prepared. For those that are in the South Florida region or in a community association throughout the country, obviously you've been tracking what's been going on with the Champlain South Tower. You've seen an immediate response by all the way up to federal, state, local governments. They're revamping this 40, 50-year recertification process. We're expecting a tremendous amount of changes to occur, not only just immediately, but over time. They're going to constantly be changing and updating this process. Well, what better than a 12-part series episode by the experts at GlobalPro, working with other experts and consultants, whether they be attorneys and contractors, lawyers, management companies, to give you information about what to expect. You want to find out more information about what's going on with regards to your association, whether you're a board member or a property manager. This is going to be the 12-part series that you're going to want to make sure that you continue to track. Once you make sure that you continue to tune in and track the changes with us, and we can talk about these things, get answers to your questions. I mean, as a board member, as a property manager, you're a fiduciary. You want to make sure you have information that you need in order to be able to disseminate information to your fellow unit owners as you're making changes. Involve them in the process. You heard me talk about it in the last episode. Involve them in the process, right? So check it out. Go to getglobalpro.com/GP links. All the information will be there. Click on it. It's called a 40 to 50 year recertification webinar series. The first episode is tomorrow. So if you haven't already signed up, make sure you're doing it. We're going to be talking about the history of the 40-year certification, just to, understand where we are today, how we got to where we are, why it may not be working, right? And then the recertification process as of today and expectations going forward. We're going to break all the things down, the expectations, some hypothesis on, or suggestions as to what you should expect or what we would hope to see in order to protect, obviously, these community associations and assist them in making better decisions as they go forward. And also, the last part is going to be about alternative solutions for associations. Buildings not required to perform the research. And we're going to kind of go into that because there's been a lot of questions as to do I fall into that bucket of associations that needs to comply with these changes? What about this audit that Miami-Dade talked about, or various different jurisdictions I've been talking about where we've seen buildings get shut down? There's been a lot of discussions as to, what are they going to do? How does that impact, new financing and new unit owners' expectations as they buy in units or prospectively look at new opportunities? Is it going to impact your real estate values? How is it going to impact you as a board member, unit owner? How are you going to make those decisions? So all these things, we're going to go into so much more than that. I mean, I'm just trying to, just give you a little bit of a teaser, talk about it. You see it right there on the screen. Make sure, again, get globalpro.com/GP links. All the information's there. There's a whole website that's going to be launched for this. Tomorrow is the first episode. You want to make sure it's a 12-part series, right? So first one's tomorrow, 11 more after that. Make sure you continue to tune into that stuff. We'll be talking about here. So, but before I say goodbye, I want to talk a little bit about our history, some claim stories. I started to kind of dive into this. If you've been tuning in, you know that we're counting down to 10 years. And part of that is talking about all the success, the things that we've done for our clients. I want to make sure that you guys understand what it's like to call us first, as opposed to just waiting for maybe your broker or the insurance company to do something for you, which is probably not the greatest thing to do. It's never really worked out for any community association or business owner that we're aware of. Quite frankly, there's been a lot of things that get missed when those things happen. So not that it's not a pretty good idea. I'm going to go on the other side of it and go to the extreme and say it's just not a good idea. These people do not represent your interest in an actual claim. They're there, whether if you were talking about insurance agents, to sell you a product, and your insurance company's there to comply with their obligations on a contract. That's simply it. And obviously there's Florida laws, there's rules and regulations, there's a lot that goes into their decision-making process. And sometimes, unfortunately, there's business decisions made. Even if you have a real claim with real damages, you do everything you're supposed to do. We have seen frequently where an insurance company has actually denied a claim or just simply delayed it and just did nothing, right? Just sat on their hands. We want to make sure you avoid those things, right? So we want to talk about some of the history, some of the things that we've done here. And one of the things that comes to mind, particularly now we're hurricane season, we're seeing a bunch of storms pop up, we're deep into it, we're the active part of that season. We want to make sure that, obviously we want to talk about some examples. Maybe they relate to you. Maybe it will get you to think differently about the situation for your community association. So what I have for you is the tale of two condominium associations damaged by Hurricane Irma, right? The first one is an association that called us first. We talk about this, we campaign about it. We want to make sure that you are calling us first. Why? Well, calling us first, you can kind of maybe change it up a little bit. Call us before you call your insurance company. Call us before you call your insurance broker. We don't want you to get deductible phobia. We don't want you to make bad decisions. We don't want you to improperly report things or inaccurately report things. All those things can contribute to either delayed or denied claims. And it's very important that none of that happens when dealing with your claims. So how do you avoid those things, right? So for this association, they called us first. Hurricane Irma damaged their property and association. It took 4 months to get a total recovery. Why? Well, we were out there immediately. We were doing an investigation into their damages. We were making sure that they had everything they needed. We were making sure that the insurance company had everything they needed. We were helping the association making decisions, whether it was how to mitigate damage. What is mitigation? A lot of questions about that. We see a lot of associations misunderstand the idea of mitigation, which is stop it from getting worse, and rebuilding, right? Rebuilding is replacing the sticks and bricks and not stopping from getting worse. It's just launching into a construction project. But if you don't know how much money you have to spend, then why are you doing that, right? You don't want to spend your association into debt with a false expectation that your insurance company is just going to do the right thing. Well, because a lot is riding on how the claim is reporting, how you exhibit your damages, who's there during the inspections, what do they say, what estimates, what does your contractor's records and information say, their contracts, their invoicing, the checks that you issue to them. All those things are so important. What photographs, videos are you taking? Did you fly drones? Did you get into all of the areas in which there were damages? You don't want to kick the can and say, oh, we'll address that later. We'll do something different later with that, right? You want to make sure that you try to assess all the damage. Now, it's never there may be a reason why you need to call the insurance company back out of the property and do these things, whatever else. But for this association, they had us out there right away. They ended up with a multi-million-dollar recovery, over $5 million on gross recovery for their damages in 4 months after Hurricane Irma. Not many associations in the South Florida market could say that they had that kind of result, right? That's because we were out there immediately, right? There was accurate reporting of loss, I think, is really what it came down to. Because, like I said, it's a tale of two condominium associations. So the condo association right next door didn't call us first. So they called their insurance broker, and the insurance company came out, did an investigation directly with the management, with the board there, walking through the association's property, looking at damages. There was very little guidance. When we looked at the actual reporting of the damages, what was reported as was damaged by Hurricane Irma, which is really important, there was very little information. There was not a lot of description. Some of the descriptions, in fact, was wrong. There were some follow-up emails that were sent by the broker. Sometimes the broker just forwarded on the property manager's emails, which attached the unit owner's complaint. But in that unit owner complaint, we find out that it actually wasn't a unit owner, and it was misrepresented by the property manager that it was. It was, in fact, the tenant. The tenant had just moved into the property. There's a lot of misinformation, again, being disseminated to the insurance company, which led to a lot of frustration and infighting within the association, which distracted from the recovery and led to lawsuits. Unit owners filed lawsuits against the association. This dragged on for 3 years, right? Then they came to GlobalPro. We went out there. We dug through all the records and information. We went back to the insurance company, reopened the claim after they received a denial, right? So they reported the claim directly to the insurance company with the assistance of their actual insurance agent and broker, denied the claim. The association next door called us first. We reported the claim. Within 4 months, gross recovery over $5 million. This association, similar property, sister building, right next door, reports the claim on their own with their broker and agent. They receive a denial, right? So, and then 3 years later, GlobalPro's back out there after the association and a new board finds out about what GlobalPro did next door. And now we're there on the property, fighting with the insurance company, going back and forth, proving their damages, kept them out of a lawsuit, and received a gross recovery of $5 million. But they had to wait 5 years. They went through a special assessment. The association was being sued by unit owners. I mean, there's so many things that were done wrong that could have been more properly managed up front, which could have led to recovery. And that's the problem. That's the problem with trying to do this on your own, and why we always say, call us first. Avoid the conflict. Avoid the issue. Here is a tale of two condominium associations, sister buildings right next door to each other, that had the same insurance company. One paid, one got a denial. Damaged from the same cause of loss. Similar recoveries. Understand your obligations as board members, as unit owners, as property managers, as vendors. Understand your fiduciary obligations as a board member and a unit owner, right? We talked about 40-year certification, top of mind right now, but hurricane season is very active. That's why I want to talk about this, right? In the prior episodes, we talked about collapse of buildings and falling concrete. Now, GlobalPro has helped so many associations in multi-million-dollar recoveries. But very few people are talking about insurance and how it can help them recover if concrete falls and damages and whatever else. But all of that comes down to the same issue, the accurate reporting of the claim and the handling of it from the onset of the loss. And that's where I really believe the impact is made in these claims, is early on in the process. So contact us, let us know. This isn't just supposed to be a rolling advertisement, but this is a real, true, factual story. There's two associations right next to each other. They handle the claims completely different. We were there first on one. We came there 3 years later after so much conflict and issues and a denial. from the same insurance company for the same cause of loss to a similar building right next door. It's fascinating how these things happen, but unfortunately it happens too often. So avoid those issues. Call us first. Let us know how we can help you. And as all of you know, and as I just mentioned, this is all a part that countdown to 10 years. We are so excited for all this to come, but we want to make sure that you also tune into that webinar series I talked about earlier on, right? Remember, it's getglobalpro.com/GP links. Find all that information. It's all over our social media. It's on our website. We're going to be pushing out emails to all of our contact database to make sure that you all have the information you need to make sure that you as a community association are doing what you're supposed to do. But these changes are also and potentially can impact commercial property owners and operators, right? So commercial properties also go through a similar 40-year certification. So even if you're a business owner and you own your own business, check it out. Tune in. Maybe some of the changes that are coming are going to impact you as well. But there's going to be experts. There's going to be lawyers. There's going to be management companies on the panel talking about important issues. So get answers to your questions. These are some of the folks that probably manage your properties that provide your association legal counsel. Well, guess what? You don't have to pay for this 1 hour seminar, right? And it's going to be 12 parts. So tune in, get the information. It's there. You're going to be able to submit questions. We're going to roll through these things. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. So, but again, we're here every week, every Thursday, providing you this information. This is the Recovery Report. So make sure you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Follow us and like us on all the social media. We're going to continue to have on guests to talk about important issues. We're going to have this 12-part series every single month. We're going to be giving out all kinds of important information, and we hope you tune in tomorrow for the first part of that series. But otherwise, if you can't find the information or you don't know where it is, hit us up. Contact us. Call us, 855-487-7475. Like us and follow us on social media. We are here to provide you the information you need. Thank you so much for tuning in this week on the Recovery Road Live. We'll see you next week at 11 o'clock, same place. Make sure you get the information you need. I'm Dan Odess with GlobalPro, where we manage risk to recovery.